You may have read about, seen, or heard, maybe talked to one of the admissions counselors about Marist's online graduate programs, which are indeed very flexible, and they fit well into the schedules of most professionals or new graduates coming out of college with their undergraduate degrees. However, let me define flexibility and the ease of scheduling. Most of your courses will be 8 weeks long. During those 8 weeks, you'll have individual, generally weekly assignments that you must complete by a specified deadline, usually by the end of a given week. And you have projects that will be due, perhaps self-paced, but due at the end of a semester being 8 weeks long. You will usually have, if you're a part-time student, one course during each of those 8-week periods during the fall and spring, and towards the end of your program you'll have some summer courses or seminars to complete. So there is some structure, there is some scheduling that's required on your part. It's recommended that you discipline yourself to keep a good individual calendar for your work at Marist in the online graduate program and come up with weekly schedules and deadlines for the work that you're assigned, and also your own individual pacing through each course. Also, you'll find graduate school is not like undergraduate school. It's more self-paced. The responsibility that you have as a student is much greater than that of an undergraduate who might live on campus and be used to being guided through their program by resident assistants and directors and mentors and advisors and faculty members who have contact with you several times a week. In our online graduate program, you may have very little contact with a faculty member. Each faculty member is entitled to manage his or her classroom in a way that he or she feels is most effective, and that means you'll have some faculty members who are very hands-on, very interactive, and other faculty members who you may contact very infrequently. They provide the content, they provide the assignments, and you submit the deliverables on time. So you'll see a variety of different teaching techniques, but in general at the graduate level, you as a student must be willing to tackle large amounts of very difficult, complex, deep readings. In some cases, you may have 4 or 5 chapters in a week to read, or in some cases an entire book, and you'll be responsible to retain the information from those readings and be able to recite it on an exam, apply it to a discussion, or write a paper. You must come to school prepared, having read your assignments. In other words, each week you may have different reading assignments, discussion responsibilities, papers, etc. You are responsible for submitting those on time without reminders from a faculty member. So you need to pace yourself, allow yourself time to read, to think, and reflect about the readings that you do before you come up against a deadline for a discussion period or a paper. At first, this will be very daunting. Your first course in the program will likely be almost, as some students have told me, like a boot camp. It's a shock. Sometimes you'll question your wisdom in embarking on a graduate program, but this is normal. A little bit of anxiety, even a significant amount of anxiety, is normal in the first few weeks or even first semester of a program. Just be assured that you will gain confidence and skill in the process of graduate study over time. So don't give up hope. Don't become too alarmed. Rely on your classmates, rely on faculty members to assist you through that difficult period. You also want to, again, getting back to the group, show respect, listen to, and value the contributions of your classmates and also the faculty members. It's okay to question ideas, but certainly it probably is not in your best interest to question some of the teaching methods and techniques of different faculty who have probably earned their PhD, done a lot of teaching as a graduate student themselves, and spent years perfecting their teaching methods in the classroom. So just keep in mind the need to show respect and etiquette online is even greater than in a face-to-face environment, because it's so much easier to send a message or make a comment that's not well thought out, and once you push that send button, you can't retrieve it. Now, what can you expect from Marist and your faculty members? Well, I can only speak for myself, but as a member of our graduate faculty, knowing my colleagues very well, I think we all expect that you'll start out gradually in each course and in the program, and we will expect students to handle a larger share of responsibility and workload as time and the weeks go by. Again, faculty members have different techniques. We are, none of us, perfect faculty members. We do make mistakes. We appreciate your patience. We too have a very heavy workload, and if you become frustrated with teaching techniques or the length of time it takes to receive feedback, certainly contact your faculty member in an appropriate way, either by iLearn message or if it's urgent, a phone call. But give the faculty member time to respond. We normally respond within a couple of days to most queries, 3 or 4 days, let's say, for routine messages. Your faculty members are very thoughtful and considerate when putting together a course, selecting the textbooks and assignments. In many cases, we've taught these courses for years, and we've adjusted them and improved on them based on feedback from previous students. So work with us. These courses are probably time-tested, and at the end of the course, I think you'll benefit from the approaches that faculty members take in each course. Do not expect to have all your questions answered. I think most of us are willing to assist you with very difficult questions and problems that we know you might not be able to answer, or it would take an inordinate amount of time to answer. Questions that we know you can answer on your own with a little bit of effort, a little bit of research. It's very likely we'll turn the question back on you and ask you to solve the problem. You're not going to receive a lot of lecturing as you might in an undergraduate course. This is a very interactive online graduate program, and you're going to be required to engage in a dialogue with your classmates and with the professor, and in many cases, since you're adults, and many of you professionals with many years of experience, we're going to learn from you as students. Therefore, we're going to have what we call a collaborative teaching and learning environment where each of us teaches and learns. Outside of our regular interactions in the online classroom, faculty members will remain available at least 1 hour each week for usually an online office hour period. Attendance at these is voluntary. However, we encourage you to attend. It certainly contributes towards your participation, and it helps you get to know your fellow students and faculty members. You can answer questions in a chat room, or some faculty use for perhaps a Skype or Google Hangout for office hours, but you can get answers immediately and clear up some of the problems and questions that you might be having. Finally, let me address the time requirements. In speaking of tasks or assignments, readings, discussions, etc. in our online courses, you should be prepared to dedicate the right amount of time each week to your coursework. And we know many of you are busy with your professional careers, working in the office, long hours, families, attending to family matters at home, and it's difficult to juggle all of your responsibilities, including coursework, at the same time. However, I'm sure you thought through this as you began your application process and made your decision to embark on the graduate education program. It's something that goes along with graduate education, and that is the ability to manage your time so that you meet all of your commitments to work, family, and school. As far as how much time you should be dedicating to your program each week, it depends. If you're a full-time student, then you're taking 2 courses at a time. You need to be willing and able to dedicate up to 36 hours of what we call class time, or actual time in the online iLearn site, and homework time, time outside the classroom, time outside your participation in things like discussions. Where do we come up with this figure? Well, if you take a look at the requirements here provided to us by our accrediting authority, which is New York State, New York State grants us the power to award degrees based on a careful assessment of our programs to make sure that they meet very rigorous academic standards. In our case, with graduate work online, it's no different than graduate work on the ground. The New York State Department of Education, the Commission on Higher Education, requires that for every credit of coursework, we design a program that requires you to commit a total of 45 hours of work per semester credit. That breaks down to about 15 hours of instruction and 30 hours of your work outside class. To put that in perspective, we have an 8-week semester. At the end of the semester, you pass the course, you earn 3 credits.